Welcome to another edition of the CSE's Asian Heritage Month. My name is Phillip Shum. I'm the Director of Listings Development based in Toronto, Canada. Today I'm here with Sean Kingsley, who is based out in Vancouver. Welcome, Sean.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for having me.
You've got probably one of the more interesting backgrounds that I have that I've known of, especially in conjunction with this platform that we're working on right now. So I would like for you to just to go into it, introduce yourself, tell me what you're doing right now, and how long have you been at this post now?
Yeah, so my name is Sean Kingsley. Since this is the Asian Heritage edition, I should go into my family's background, and then I'll finish off with kind of where I'm at. But in regards to the industry, I've been working in the industry since 2007, so 15 years so far. I'm mostly focused on marketing, communications, and financing for junior resource companies. I've always focused on junior resource mining listings. It's what I have so much passion for. A little bit about my family. We came here to Vancouver in 1887. We're one of the oldest. I think we actually have 6 generations right now. We have a large family here. But we originally came here from Canton, which is now called Guangzhou. It was a part of Hong Kong before it became Guangzhou, or it was called Canton. So it was a part of Hong Kong. And we came here during when Canada was building the railroad. They needed workers, and they were importing a lot of the Chinese here to do all the work. We didn't come, or my great-great-grandfather and his brother did not come here to build the railroad. They actually came here as missionaries to teach Jesus Christ to the workers. So we actually established the first Chinese church here in Victoria, BC, as well as Vancouver, BC, and which became the United Church. We got a lot of legacy. We've been contributing to society here in not only BC but in Canada for over 130 years. We actually, some of my relatives actually fought tooth and nail to join the Canadian Army during World War II because back then there was a lot of racism and separatism, and in World War I they weren't able to serve. So in World War II they really wanted to serve for Canada. Being a patriotic individual or family here and wanting to give back for freedoms and stuff. So it wasn't until the Japanese attacked that the Allies needed people that looked like Japanese to be spies to go across into enemy territory. So we've had many of our family members serve in the Canadian Army since then, and even my late great uncle, my uncle Dan Lee, he was selling poppies until he passed away at the age 92 or 93, just a few years back. But definitely a lot of heritage here on the Chinese side for sure. And lastly, my positions. My main focus is in Enduro Metals. I strongly believe this is going to be a very special situation. It's in a very historical area called the Golden Triangle, which actually is the most mineral endowed district in the world, believe it or not, in this small area. And we got the largest land position as a junior explorer. We just closed a $11 million or $10 million financing just recently, and I'm helping out a few other listings. But I wear a lot of hats in this business. In order to be successful, you not only have to wear a lot of hats, but you also have to volunteer a lot of your time. So I volunteer with the Association for Mineral Exploration for the last 10 or 12 years now. I think 10 years now, and C10, which is the Center of Training Excellence in Mining, which kind of fast tracks individuals in post-secondary that want to get into the mining industry. And I host a bunch of networking events like Mining for Beer here in Vancouver, and we've got our Roundup event, which is about to happen at PDAC, which is probably one of the largest networking receptions during our largest mining conference. So that's a little bit about me, but
No, for those that know Sean, everyone knows Sean is extremely well connected in the junior mining space. but is quite a stalwart in terms of promoting the industry, not just the companies he's working for specifically, but growth for the industry. So good on you, Sean. So I'm wondering if you can kind of walk viewers through how you actually got into this space.
Yeah, it's not easy. And even when I got in it, I had a lot of my friends from elementary and high school ask me like they had no idea. Because, back in 2007, 2008, I'm 38 now. So I was mid 20s, around 23, 24 kind of thing.
Mhm.
And, going, everyone's out of university and going into their careers. And this career, it just kind of fell in my lap. Like I knew someone that worked in the business, and I had no idea. I was green behind the ears. I didn't even know what a stock market was. And literally sat down with them for a couple hours and listened to everything. I just absorbed it like a sponge. And yeah, he got me a job interview the next week, and now it's my passion. I know for a fact I'll be doing this for the rest of my life. It's amazing. But yeah, it's not easy. But once, if you're willing and able and willing to put the time in and do the research and learn and grow within the industry, there's a lot of opportunity. Especially now, there's not enough people coming to work in this mining industry. So there's a lot of jobs out there. If you're interested, just reach out to me.
Yeah, no, and I think we've highlighted you as one of the kind of young faces in mining in previous editions and stuff like that. And yeah, I understand that there is a bit of a shortage in terms of skilled labor and individuals that are choosing not to go into the whole mining exploration space because there are other alternatives that other individuals are looking to get into. But what would you say is the most exciting part of your job at this point?
Oh, it's a thrill of discovery. I work on the earlier spectrum of the mining cycle. I'll give it to you guys real quick. There's the incubation stage where you're creating a company, you're an entrepreneur, you have, you're surrounded by people that have the wherewithal to build a company, and you'll go to the Canadian Securities Exchange and propose that you'd like to have a company. That's the very start. Once you do that, you got to look for a project in combination with that. But in those early stages, exploration is the highest risk part of the mining cycle. But if you do make discoveries, and it's just a thrill to be involved in exploration and discovery. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. But besides that, I think it's the community. We get to travel around the world, meeting investors and talking to the public about the benefits of mining. But the community that's around in this space, it's like no other. It's your extended family, and having that support, regardless if you're peers or if you're competitors or whatnot, like we all come together. And so, yeah, I have to say my answer is community for sure.
Right. I concur with that because those that are in the small cap space in Toronto and Vancouver, there's a sense of, yes, a sense of competition for investor dollars, but there's also a very collaborative facet involved with most of the participants. So if you had some words of advice for those who are looking to get into the industry, either for non-Asians or Asians, what would you say?
Yeah, just in general, pretty much there's like I said earlier, there's not enough young people getting involved in this industry. So there's a lot of job opportunities, and what it takes to go into this industry, you just have no idea. Like there's so many different occupations that you wouldn't even think are involved in mining. And so, in one way or another, regardless of your path, your career path, you may end up working in this industry. And once you get to know the industry, you're going to love it. But for young entrepreneurs or young, ambitious, people that love earth science, love to explore, love to go out the outdoors, like there's nothing like this industry being out there. So my advice for you young people watching this that want to get involved, just make an effort, reach out to people, Go to these networking events, introduce yourself, even if you're not going to school or you're not involved yet. Tell them that you're interested in this space, and we're more than welcome to, or we're still such an open book. Like, we want to, guide new people and mentor them, and point them in the right direction, and create a business card interested in geology, or interested in mining, or interested in financing, or investor relations, and bring these cards to these networking events or these conferences. Introduce yourself to random strangers. You'd be surprised about the conversations that you can have with these people, and exchange cards. Go back home, add them on LinkedIn, and because you never know where your first or your next job could come from, but it usually comes from the connections you've made already.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the follow-up question to this, in terms of, now that you've kind of explained your background, is how do you think that your heritage has shaped who you are today?
It's been tough, to be honest. Being in this business, I'm 38 years old, yet I look like I'm still 25 when I first started in this business 15 years ago. And 15 years ago, the age demographic of the mining industry, it was all gray hair, regardless, predominantly male, but there were some very successful female geologists and industry individuals, but everyone was gray hair. And so, me being this 25-year-old Asian guy that nobody knows who or what they do, that was tough. And it is still kind of tough. Like, I go to Europe, a handful of times a year, and I still talk to a lot of the aging demographic that are, fund managers, family offices, etc. And, a lot of comments always come up during my travels about how young I look. But once I start talking to them, then they understand that, I get it. I understand it. I've been around a lot of it. And, that's how you build those relationships. But, getting over that first impression is always the toughest. But just keep at it, because, to be honest with you, Phil, and everyone watching, I am a true introvert. And I was an introvert for the first 5 years of my career.
I find that hard to believe.
I would literally go to conferences and grab people's 2-pagers and fact sheets and presentations and any information I can get without looking at them in their eyes, so they wouldn't start a conversation with me. And I would take all their stuff back to my office to try to make my stuff better. And it really wasn't until I started getting involved in the associations and showing up to these networking events and, starting Mining for Beer here in Vancouver that, I started to come out of my shell and started to know the people in the industry. And now I'm pretty comfortable. But if you put me in a room with a bunch of strangers, I am speechless.
I don't know. I think I've seen you work the room quite a bit in the past. So that's kudos to you. So in terms of your family, your family initially came from Canton, as you mentioned, which is now Guangzhou. Are there any traditions that you're especially proud of, or that things that you always maintain throughout a yearly basis, or anything like that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a story. It goes back to my great grandma. My great grandma was born here. I believe she wasn't the eldest, but she was the eldest female in her family, and I think she had 12 or 13 siblings. She was born here in 1910, and she's still around. And she's turning 112, I think, in July. But
oh my gosh,
always,
that's amazing.
Yeah, she's one of the oldest, if not here in BC and Canada. But every single year we'd have a birthday bash, and pretty much it'll bring the whole family together, because everyone else is off on their own, driving their careers forward and that kind of stuff. So, having that event or in celebrating her birthday of everyone is always special. She's a little older now, and she's in a care home as of the last 2 years. So we do get together and visit as a family on the outside. So hopefully we can bring that back. But the story I wanted to share with you is, when she was in grade school here in Vancouver, because Vancouver is a young city comparable to, anywhere in Ontario or Quebec. it's a very young city. So when, when she was probably 5 or 6 years old in kindergarten or grade one, the teacher asked everyone to divide up into regions of the world where they're from. And, we had an influx of, a lot of farmers and stuff from, Scotland, Ireland. We had, Asian people come here. We had, we're a multicultural country, and, we opened up our country to develop it, and bring a wide range of nationalities. So when the teacher asked everyone to separate into different regions of the world, everyone went into their corners and stuff. But my great grandma, bless her soul, Mabel, just sat in the middle, and she was all by herself. And everyone's like, no, you need to go over there to China and stuff. And she's like, no. And the teacher asked her, yeah, you're from China, you need to go to the that group with Chinese. And she's like, no, I was born here. I'm Canadian.
Right.
Like, where's the Canadian part of the room? So, always having that patriotism of being, Canadian and being from here. So, I've always held that, the legacy, and, always, doing right for our country, and, trying to make, not a name per se, but more of a legacy. So going back to your first question, kind of what drives me in my positions or being a part of this industry, it's about making a name for ourselves. It's not about the money, because there is a lot of money to be made in this business. But if you're after the money, it's going to be short wins, and there's always ebbs and flows in the market and stuff. And, you won't last long in this business if it's just money that's driving you. You're going to jump around to different sectors, whatever's hot during that, period of time. But it's all about, being a part of history, essentially, and, being a part of discoveries and making a name for ourselves in this industry. That's what really drives me, and that's what makes me excited. And I guess yeah.
Well, I mean, if I understand it, there are less discoveries now compared to a few years ago, like decades ago. Most of the good discoveries have been found already, but they still exist. But having said that, larger mining companies do need access to discoveries so that they can buy up a lot of the junior markets and continue to add them from an mergers and acquisition standpoint to bring ongoing new or new opportunities for the larger companies and stuff like that. So that is an extremely important part of the industry itself. And so it can be extremely challenging as well.
Sorry to cut you off there, because actually that just brings a lot of opportunities. Like, in this day and age, we have so much technology available to us, different technology for different industries, yet we're applying them in this mining sector to actually make new discoveries. Like, it's happening. And actually, I just want to share this because I think just in general, investors or the public should know this, but we've had less and less interest of investment or investors or a new wave of investors in the mining industry, and that's only going to make life more expensive for all of us. As Phil was just saying, we need more metals and minerals than ever before, and there's less and less being discovered. Well, when there's not enough money going into the exploration side of the industry, that means there's going to be less money going towards potential discoveries, because there are discoveries happening. You just got to you got to drill. And if you're not drilling, like if you look at Newfoundland, like there's new discoveries happening because there hasn't been really much drilling going in the ground. It's just been prospecting on the surface. So there is a lot of potential, but there's not enough money coming into the business in terms of financing and investments and stuff and interest. So what's going to really happen, the supply and demand angle is, if there's not enough money to make new discoveries, then there's going to be less and less metals and minerals available, which is just going to bring the price of those metals and minerals higher and higher. On the other hand, the deposits and ore bodies that weren't feasible at a certain stage and stuff, because of the rising prices of metals and minerals, those will become more attractive to put into production. But if we don't find more discoveries, the prices of metals and minerals are just going to go higher and higher and higher. So, you can play the trade there where, gold, everyone, some of the smartest people are saying gold's going to $5,000 or $10,000. It will happen if there's not enough interest and not enough money coming into this industry to make those discoveries. That would be a true prophecy happening. And it's look at commodity prices now, like they're going to all-time highs, and it's just building a base, and that's going to happen more and more as the generations or the decades ahead of us come along. And it's going to be unfortunate for our next generation, but there's a lot of opportunity now for sure.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap this up, so in terms of Asian Heritage Month, what does that mean to you?
To be honest, just like my great grandma's story, like I'm Canadian, so I don't look at, well, I'm half Chinese and half French, so I guess I'm a halfer, so I can only speak for half of myself, but it's what does it mean to me? Like I said, we're in a multicultural country, like we're welcoming, like we're all immigrants here. Like, so it doesn't really mean anything to me. Like my friends are all colors. But it's nice to highlight some of the things, because not only the Chinese, but also the Indian have a long, legacy here, especially here in British Columbia. Like I have friends, and even in this business, that have, multiple generations, 100 plus years of history locally. That's, I can kind of relate to. So it's just really nice to kind of share those stories, all the stories that, just every generation giving back to this country to grow. So I guess that's what I get out of a Heritage Month.
No, and I agree with that, because it's really all about diversity and being able to celebrate the diversity we have here in Canada. You're right, if the majority of individuals right now are from different parts of the world, that culture is obviously getting woven into the overall fabric of the Canadian diaspora or the Canadian framework of ethnicities, right? Okay, so in terms of getting in touch with you, how do people get in touch with you, and is there anything else you'd like to address?
Yeah, well, open invite first for the Ground Up Networking reception. It's happening on the Sunday right before the PDAC, which is Canada's largest mining conference of the year. So that's going to happen on Sunday at 3 p.m. The CSE was a founding sponsor of the event, and they've been always like family and always supportive. So thank you, CSE. You can find me anywhere. I'm very transparent. I'm open to networking with anyone, because like I said earlier, you don't know who you're going to do business with or who you're going to work with in the future. So it's all about building your connections and relationships. And so you can find me on LinkedIn, Sean Kingsley. You can find me on Twitter, Canuckaholic. You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook. But yeah, any of the platforms, I'm totally happy to connect with people, and especially younger people that are interested in getting in this industry. I'd be happy to kind of connect the stars, or introduce you to some people, or invite you to some of these networking events so you can start making relationships and connections. But definitely, all you have to do is reach out. Always available.
And you've got a website as well.
Yeah, it needs some updating. But you can just search my name, Sean Kingsley, and you might be able to see my outdated website. That needs to. Thanks for the reminder, Phil.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. Once again, I'm here with Sean Kingsley. My name is Phillip Shum from the Canadian Securities Exchange. I'm the Director of Listings Development in Toronto, Canada. And this is a wrap for the Asian Heritage Month episode for the CSE. Thank you, Sean.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. Thanks, CSE.